Welcome to week 3 of the Tim and Chuck Show. Week 3. I'm Tim McDonough, joined by my esteemed colleague, Chuck Martinez-Brandon. We're back to talk some football. Chuck, we're going to dive right into it this week. A couple of big games that we want to talk to, none bigger than Crestview at Wayne Trace.
Yeah.
The Raiders only lost last year, was to Crestview 40-28, kept them out of the playoffs. Wayne Trace comes in averaging, look at this, 62.5 points per game. Crestview's coming in averaging 33. I think Wayne Trace might have a little bit of revenge on their minds.
Yeah, there were two big factors in that game last year, if memory serves me right. One was the weather. It was sort of rainy, sort of sloppy out, and that sort of hindered the Wayne Trace passing game. Number two, Mr. Spees was like his second game. He had played like 2 games at quarterback. He was going into like his 3rd game at quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, supposed to be nice, supposed to be cool, and Spees has a whole season under his belt, and he's deadly accurate. So I think might be a different story this time around for the Raiders.
Yeah, I think just coming into that game, how fired up the Raiders are going to be just to play this game. I imagine Bill Speller's going to have to probably bring his kids down a little bit to so that they don't get too crazy at the beginning.
You're exactly right, and you hit the nail right on the head, boy. Especially when you're in a passing offense, and if your quarterback comes out too jacked up, stuff's going to be flying all over the field. So we really got to just calm down and run the offense. And that 62 points a game is a result of that high-flying offense. And if they just come out and do their jobs and execute like they're supposed to, boy, it's going to be another big win.
You like the Raiders?
I'll take the Raiders.
I like the Raiders. I think that'll be good. Now, another game that I think is a little bit interesting is, Tenora changed its schedule up a little bit this year. They're going on the road to 2-0 Fort Loramie, a team that has beaten 2 MAC teams to start the season. Tell me a little bit about, your thoughts on that.
Yeah, the Tenora, they don't want to get Wayne traced. They don't want to go 9-1 or 10-0 or whatever the case may be and not make the playoffs. So they looked at their schedule and they said, where can we strengthen it up a little bit, play some teams that are going to get us some secondary level points and, help us make the playoffs. And I think they've got a team that's obviously 2-0 already, so they're going to get some second level points. And so far it's looking like a good move, but you got to win.
You got to win.
You can throw everything else out the window. You've got to win your games and then let everything else take care of it.
The thing I found interesting, I was looking up Fort Loramie. The last 2 weeks to begin the season, they gave up an opening kickoff return for a touchdown and still won those games. And so, so that's saying something that, hey, put us in a 7-0 hole, no big deal.
Fix it.
Well, there's that. But I mean, it sounds like they have some offense to generate it. It sounds like they're led by their quarterback, Tyler Casimir. He threw for 4 TDs last week. Now I know that something interesting is going on over at Tenora. They're going with 2 quarterbacks right now.
Yeah.
I know Reverend Renalette was like 10 of 12 last week, but they're also using Derek Davis back there.
And they're both good athletes, both good quarterbacks. And I always harken back to that old football saying that says, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you ain't got 1 quarterback. So I'm sure Kenny's got a plan out there at Tenora, and I'm sure he knows what he wants to do. And when you have so many good athletes, sometimes it takes a while for them to sort of fall into place. But I know he's got a plan.
Yeah, those are the 2 games I think are going to be very interesting this week. Okay, a little something different this week, Chuck. We'd like to welcome a sponsor to the show. Instead of the Whopper Hit of the Week, we have the Rose Insurance Collision of the Week. We'd like to thank them. Welcome aboard. Tell us about the Rose Insurance Collision of the Week, Chuck.
Collision of the Week, and what a way to start it off. Collisions, football, you've got to run the ISO play. Okay, so here we got Chris Boycell. He is the up back. He comes through, and Sam Walker, the linebacker for Napoleon, feels like a linebacker's supposed to feel. We got a great collision. Offense wins it, goes in for 6 points. Now, if you're a linebacker, you did 2 out of things right. He read it, he saw it, he filled, but he filled at the wrong angle. He pinched and allowed the lane to the outside. So that's just for collision of the week, ISO, baby.
That was a very nice collision. Now we have the Powerade Play of the Week this week, and that goes to Zach Robinson of Wasion. He's getting the ball. He's going to the outside. He's like, put a stiff arm on Bo Cochran of Napoleon. I'll get past him. I'm running up the sideline. Oh, here comes Wes Rickenberger of Napoleon. I'll put my shoulder down on him, step over him, and I'll keep running down the sideline for a big game.
Yeah, that's right.
Set up a score to get Wasion right back in the game. They're down 7, and they go on to win that game and beat Napoleon for the first time since 2000, 34-21.
Wow, 2010 years ago. Those kids might not even been in school yet.
It's crazy.
Some of those kids on that team. That's awesome for
And how about a shout out at the end of that game, where you got the students from Wasion lining up with the players from Wasion doing push-ups to celebrate that win. I mean, and you know, they're not sure if they're going to when, if ever, they're going to play
again,
resume this series. That was a neat thing to see.
And that's what's great about Friday night football. You know, the fans are into it, the student section's into it, the team is into it, and when you get a big win against a backdoor rival like that, that's awesome.
Well, once again, we would like to thank our sponsor, Rose Insurance, for sponsoring the Collision of the Week. If you're interested in sponsoring the Play of the Week or being the title sponsor of the Tim and Chuck Show, please call our advertising department, 419-784-5441. As always, check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and you know the video is going to be at www.crescent-news.com.
Gotta have the hyphen.
Gotta have the hyphen. We will be back next week for week 4. Enjoy Friday night. We will